Estoy en un hospital subterráneo. Después de tantas guerras que han habido en Israel, todo lo que ven acá era un estacionamiento. Era el piso -3 del hospital. Y lo que hicieron fue crear todo un hospital subterráneo donde pueda venir gente en emergencias, los soldados, los ciudadanos civiles. Atienden a cualquier paciente que llegue. Judíos, atienden a palestinos, árabes. Es más, han atendido a terroristas. Les han salvado la vida a terroristas en este hospital, porque en este hospital no importa de dónde vengas ni quién eres, solamente se preocupan por salvar vidas.
We are medical people, and as medical people, we treat whoever comes into the door. We do not make the decision who comes to be treated in the hospital. And we had many times terrorists over here. They got the same treatment like everybody else. We have a mission. Whoever will come into our doors, we treat them like every other patient. Without any prejudice, without anything. It's not for us to decide what will happen with this patient after he leaves over here, if he's going to court, jail, or something like this. We treat, always.
Including terrorists?
Including terrorists, more than once. I personally treated more than one terrorist. No compensation, exactly the same. The best treatment that we give to everyone. There are legal issues after that. There are solutions after that. It's not for us. We treat whoever comes into our door, and this is it. We treated many Palestinians over here throughout the years. We had a child here that we treated here for more than 5 years, had a kidney transplant over here from a Jewish soldier that was murdered in the West Bank, and the family knew that the kidney is going to a Palestinian child. When there was a reporter here that spoke to the mother, she was really praised and everything, but then he asked her a question. 20 years from now, if your child say that he wants to be a shaheed, want to be a martyr, what will he say? He says, Allah, great. I think that we believe that, life is precious. Only in level -3, there's about 1,200 beds and treatment units.
Si tú venías acá el 6 de octubre, esto era un parking lot. O sea, habían carros estacionados. Convirtieron todo esto en un hospital subterráneo de 2 pisos. Son 2 pisos así, enteros.
On October 7th in the morning, there were cars over here. It serves as a parking lot all the time. Since October 7th, it's vacant and is in a hospital mode.
Es una locura. Realmente es como, imagínense el estacionamiento de un mall, del mall más grande que han ido de shopping. Llevamos por lo menos, pero fuera de joda, 10 minutos caminando. Es enorme.
Which is huge. Every level is more than 20,000 square meters, more than 5 acres, 3 levels. And this is the biggest underground hospital in the world. We are now in -3. Look above and see the amount of infrastructure. So this is a hospital from the beginning. So then you see lots of numbers on the floors, on the walls. Each number is where beds station. So you can see that there are 2 beds adjacent to the walls, and those beds are being supplied with all the infrastructure that is here on the walls. There are panels that are closing this. If this is in a parking lot mode, that will against vandalism. If something happened, you just need to open the panel, put all the equipment, and the supply for those 2 beds, this is a Rambam innovation. They're up on the ceiling, and then a temporary supply line. Each bed is being supplied like a regular hospital, and the 3 parking spots like this, it's like 8 beds. And we can open 8 beds as much as we need. This is our mission. We save lives. Rambam is the tree of life. The stem of the tree is the medicine, and all the branches of the tree bridges to so many other things, like developing collaboration, but also bridge to peace. In our time, it's very important. First, we treat everyone that comes into our door. We treat Palestinian people that come from West Bank.
Algo que vimos hoy en este hospital que me pareció fabuloso y se los quería contar, es que el paciente puede salir del cuarto cuando quiera. O sea, como que el paciente baja literalmente con su camilla. O sea, lo bajan obviamente de un familiar o en una silla de ruedas, bajan la camilla del cuarto y salen al jardín, del otro lado está el mar, lo sacan a ver el mar, no sé si lo oyen, lo sacan a agarrar aire y me pareció fabuloso, me parece una manera de sanarse más rápido y que te llena el alma, el corazón, la energía. Me encantó y esto todavía es muy lejos, pero en el 2065 nos mostraron cómo va a crecer todo este hospital y la verdad que es impresionante.
When we go outside, you'll see some families, those obviously patients that can leave the wards. If they can walk, that's not a problem, but even if they lie down and there is no medical risk, families that are taking the patients and going out to be in the sun next to the sea. It's great. You know, if you want to treat patient, you have to create a healing environment. And to be in a room thinking about your pain and everything, this is not a healing environment. So there's no problem. This place. The protocols, I'm not proud of protocols, I'm proud of the people. I'm proud of the staff. Third of the staff that comes over here are engineers, computer people, orderlies, that they can work everyone else, but they are coming here committed with a smile, working extremely hard and doing the impossible. And I think that this is what I'm proud of. In Israel, when the atmosphere is not great, and then also obviously us as the family of Rambam, we also affected some of the children, husbands of the staff were killed, some were kidnapped, some were injured. And again, to keep the place going on and working, it's obviously a big challenge. Looking for resources and the decision that we continue to work regularly, and regularly not only clinical work, but also research, innovation, development. We continue to build the hospital all the time. This is a big challenge. But we are in the land of the miracles. Initially, we saw all the rockets. We are used to it already, and we didn't think of it, that you think that having rockets is regular. We thought that nothing about it, but 15 minutes later, when I saw the first vehicle with the terrorists in Sderot in the south, I knew, because I am involved with the security forces of Israel, when I saw the vehicle, I knew that there was a big thing. And immediately, we started to get ready in a mode of war, and we evacuated the shock trauma room of the hospital. In every bad thing, there's a good thing. But because we used it, so all the infrastructure was ready, we're able to deal with it. Every bed is supplied like a regular hospital with oxygen, electricity, air, vacuum, and all the rest. It was built from time zero with all the infrastructure in there without compromising anything. But on regular days, it serves as a parking lot that transforms into a hospital. And also, we have done fortified emergency room. We didn't understand the magnitude. We have to understand it's a Saturday, right? It's a holiday. So most of the staff on call in the hospital were non-Jewish. Whoever was able to be in a holiday at home was at home. Everybody working together. The name of the game is coexistent and working with each other. You can see religious people, many Arab people around, working together, extremely serious in order to do the best medical care. Worked here, they were running around and doing stuff extremely seriously, bring stuff from the emergency storage, from a mode of parking. When you need to evacuate the car, clean the place up, bring in all the equipment, and then mobilize the patient. For a full capacity, it takes somewhere between 48 to 72 hours. By having the underground hospital prepared, we can reduce the preparing time from 48 hours to 8 hours. Monday morning, we decided to use the underground hospital, but again, it's not a rocket science, but you need lots of working in. Team from the army I was supposed to get here, but never arrived. I asked friend of mine from the Navy, and he sent us 350 soldiers that were running around in order to prepare the underground hospital. They were briefed all the safety issues, and instead of taking 48 hours, within less than 30 hours, everything was ready. We are now in the command and control room. How many diesel, gas, water, oxygen? This updates every 4 minutes. In one glance, you have all the information. If something happens and we have to make decision, we can see everything. And I can see all this in my cell phone from Chile. When we have here full capacity, we'll have about 8,000 people here on the underground. So you need toilets and showers. If you go over here, the floor is harsh, different. And if you come inside, look over here, it's like Lego. You put toilets, and on the other side, it's showers. This is an operating area. So we have 24 totally fortified operating rooms. During COVID, all the patients with COVID were being operated over here. And all the rest, this area, you can see this is intensive care, so you see monitoring already ready.
Hay un pensamiento que acabo de tener. Estuvimos toda la tarde en el hospital Rambam viendo cómo tratan a los pacientes, viendo todo cómo funciona, cómo reciben a pacientes sin que importe de dónde vengan, ni siquiera les preguntan. Y es muy sencilla esta pregunta. ¿Qué hay abajo de un hospital en Israel? Otro hospital subterráneo preparado para salvar más y más vidas. ¿Qué hay abajo de un hospital en Gaza? Y con todo el dolor del mundo, lo que hay son bases de Hamas llenas de armamentos, túneles de Hamas donde hay gente secuestrada. Entonces creo que es un buen punto para empezar a entender el conflicto y cómo Hamas realmente no se preocupa por la gente palestina, por sus civiles, no tienen valor en la vida. Entonces está bueno que por aquí lo sepan.
Detrás de aquellas montañas ya es el Líbano, después ver, esa es la bahía de Haifa, el mar Mediterráneo.
Aprovechando que estábamos en Haifa, fuimos a visitar el Technion, una de las universidades más importantes de Israel. Es más, lo conocen como el MIT israelí. La mayoría de los estudios e inventos que han salido del Technion han literalmente cambiado el mundo. Como por ejemplo un pendrive, toda la compresión de data en JPG, PDF, PNG, zip, todos esos formatos que hasta la NASA utiliza. De verdad que es admirable e impresionante. Y pudimos sentarnos a hablar con 3 estudiantes del Technion.
It's so dumb, it's so not smart. ChatGPT is impressive, but that's it. It was 3 years and I did an extra year of not mandatory service where you get paid for it. I was excited that you told me about Lebanon because actually that was my area of interest. I did something that's classified, so we can't really get into it. It feels more like work, yeah, but the first 3 years were not. It's mandatory and you have like more stricter terms where you have to live there and go to your house every 2 weeks and see all your friends, and you have to do that for 3 years, and after you finish you can like, allegedly go on with your life, but then a war starts and you have to go back. And yeah, for boys it's 3 years, for girls it's 2 years. Some jobs in the army are you have to learn a lot to do them, so if girls want to do them they have to sign on for extra years.
Military is mandatory. Yes. Everyone does it, except if you have like medical issues.
I'm Caroline, I'm 27 years old, I live here in Haifa. I'm on my first year of my doctorate and I study biotechnology and food engineering.
My name is Snir, I'm 23, I study biomedical engineering. My younger brother is currently in the military. He's a combat soldier, so he's over there. He comes back every now and then, and I did reserve service when the war started, and I might go back in a few weeks. It is challenging to do both. I think all of the institutions here in Israel, Technion specifically, they all need to adjust to the situation. We have known wars here, unfortunately, many. So the academy world knows how to adjust itself as far as it can to make life easier for those that are in the military right now and to those who are coping with family members there or losing a lot of people. We all know that it will affect things here in the future, including the industry. Regarding we all do engineering, it will affect the industry because people will take longer to graduate due to the situation. Everyone is trying to accommodate to the situation and to do what's best. The Technion has like activities to have a mental break from everything.
It was very hard for me to have normal life because nothing happened on the north at the beginning of the war. Everyone expected us to just go back to kind of normal life and go back to our research. But at the first week I remember that I would not step a foot outside of my door because I was just too afraid. And like on the 7th of October, when we woke up in that, I can't even explain that morning, but when we woke up, my husband directly just got up and he got a call to go. I feel like I was just too afraid and like very tense, and I just even can't express that feeling because I felt like nothing matters, but I want this life there of our soldiers and the hostages. I wanted them back to know that they're safe and then I can go back to normal. But then we realized it's not that easy and it's not going to happen so fast. Then I realized that in order to have some sort of keep my mind sane, I had to go back to my everyday life, just to keep me going and to give the people who really need it the strength to know that they can do what they need to do so the country can still keep going. And that's what my supervisor told me. Even if it doesn't seem like you're doing important things, the fact that you allow the Technion even to do the research that keeps the Technion get funds and stuff like that, even this is important to keep the state of Israel going. So I just came back like 2 weeks after and here we are. We all have like bottles of water and some dry food kept in the houses in case a war starts.
There are rockets being fired from Lebanon every day. Since a lot of Israelis were in the military, some people have more knowledge than others. Specifically, I feel like I know a little bit more from the north, and usually, surprisingly, what happened in like the 7th of October, my biggest fear was not that it would happen there, that it would happen from Lebanon, because the same plans that are being that was executed there is actually being planned there as well. Yeah, we talk about it all the time, what's going to be with the hostages, what's going to be in the north, what's going to be with Iran. We all woke up to a complete surprise. There was suddenly a war, atrocities and whatever. Specifically, my job in the army when I was in mandatory service was something regarding like locating places and persons of interest. So when like 7th of October happened, we were sure the like social media and everything, we were sure it's going to be an all-out war from everywhere, both from Lebanon, from Israel, like has Lebanon from the north, Syria from the northeast, and Gaza from the southwest. And we were sure that it's going to be everywhere. And in my group of friends, besides me, everyone is a combat soldier. So when I woke up that morning, everyone was just going to all the borders everywhere. And what I knew that I could contribute is to make sure that if they have to enter somewhere, is Gaza or in Lebanon, whatever, I have the ability to locate, to make sure they're more safe. And so the first month was terrible because there was uncertainty everywhere. We didn't know where the war was going to affect us. What happened in like the first month is that almost everyone in Israel wanted to help the effort somehow, mostly to keep people safe. After about a month, we realized this is going to be a very long war. It's not going to be easy to maintain this high intensity for so long. It's easier to go back to normal because you know that you're somewhat saving your energy for what's next. Because it's not going to be over in in the near future.
For the past few years, it felt like we were sitting across from the barrel of a gun and waiting for it to go off. We were all on edges for the past few years. We were afraid from Lebanon and Hezbollah, the rise-ups in Gaza for the past lots of years. What happened on October 7th made an earthquake here in the Middle East, in the whole Middle East and the Arab states and Israel, and it affects the whole world, basically. We are all sitting here trying to focus on what's in front of us and not think bigger, because it gets us confused. When there was the retaliation from Iran here, the drones, we were all up all night because of like the bombs and the drones and everything. As people that grew up in this area, we all know what happens when there are lots of rockets from Lebanon coming to this area. I mean, right now they are firing hundreds of rockets every day, but it's closer to the border. My house is 20 kilometers from the border. In 2006, there was a big war with Lebanon. The neighboring house to mine was exploded, and we sat in the bomb shelter. And as a kid, I remember we got out and collected like things from the rocket itself. I still have it in my house. We all know what could happen here.
I feel like it's my obligation to stay here and raise my kids to be in the military, but they'll have to be in order that we'll be here. So it's like we don't have any other choice, and that's what I think people don't understand.
Hard times make hard men and women, and hard men and women make good times. And then they make good children, which bring bad times, yeah. Ever since the war, surprisingly, I was also in the reserve duty, but I've also approached a lot of peace activists. The Technion and universities in Israel in general are very diverse with respect to their Jewish and Arab populations. And ever since the 7th of October, I've approached many more Arab students and tried to find the common ground. Where is the difference in our perspectives? I believe eventually we'll get there. There's no way it's going to be on forever. I have complete hope that it will happen.
If this would be reaching someone who does not believe what is happening in Israel now, what would be your message?
If you want to get to know us, come talk to us. People meet people, people like people. And if you want to talk to us and get to know us, and we can find our differences, we can find what's in common between us. And I am a strong believer in communication. If we talk, I think we will find a way to agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think my message would be that truth is the loudest thing in the world, and don't have double standards, because if we had babies beheaded on October 7th, you can't say that babies are now beheaded on Rafah, but you don't believe us. So speak to us, get your facts checked, believe in the good in the world, because not everything has some evil message or intent behind.
This conflict spans outwards instead of inwards. It's so fresh for both sides here, what happened, and we need people to just give us some time to talk within ourselves. The Israeli society, the Palestinian society, let us resolve things inside of this area, because no one that lives outside of this area can understand the reality on both sides, and no one can understand what happens here better than us, even if they're not studying international law or the conflict or something. The reality here teaches a lot, and I think coming here and watching people talk is very heartwarming. And I lived in Jerusalem, which is a mixed city. It has Palestinians, Christians, Muslims, Jewish, everyone. And I live in a city next to Akka, which is also a combined city. And I think in the outside world, people need to first give us a break for a minute. And everyone has an opinion, but it doesn't really matter, because if your opinion is just shouting things all around the world, it doesn't affect the society here. Unless you're willing to come here and watch people actually talk, just give us a break.
Thank you.